Alright, welcome back for episode 3. Today we've got hauling, which is a little bit different than what we've been doing. Um, we actually have some. So, what we're going to do is we're going to actually rent a hauler because that'll give us the ability to do hauling missions that are a little bit bigger than what we've got for the cutter. So, we'll go ahead and do that. We're going to rent it for one day. See, it's going to be 34,020. We'll confirm the rental. Got it. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick up another tool. I'm going to pick up a max lift tractor beam. That will actually allow us to lift cargo and move it up to about 80 meters. And then we're going to head back to our hangar. For this particular video, I'm operating out of Port Tressler.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
So we'll deliver the haul A, and then we'll retrieve it. Sometimes when you're retrieving stuff lately from the ASOP terminal, it may spawn incorrectly. Theoretically, you usually want to call it from within your hangar the first time. Otherwise, that can happen. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lower it back down. Now, apparently, this time it's going to make us claim it. Expedite it just for the sake of this video. That'll take it down about a minute 50. While that's doing that, basically just gonna have to wait for it now. Alright. Now we'll go ahead and retrieve it. And at some point it should disappear, the old one. Apparently we still got it jumping around in there. If you have your personal hangar at the station already, go to it and do this. Call it up. Don't use the ASOP terminals anymore if you have to. Unfortunately, with the haul A, there really is nowhere to get into this on this side of the ship. You can only enter on one side. You know, that looks like an airlock. It's not. And of course, we have no way of getting up there to that airlock. So we're going to have to send it back down and bring it back up. Hopefully that'll right it. Go ahead and grab my max lift before I forget. Alright. The heck of it. Let's see if the max list will move it. Oh, too heavy. Can't even pull it from the side. Oh well. It was a nice thought. So
Welcome
we'll have to go ahead and
to the
store it
ASOP
again.
vehicle retrieval system.
And at least this time it lessens the
Please visit
storage.
us again. Goodbye. Welcome to the
Alright.
ASOP
Let's go ahead and
vehicle
retrieve it
retrieval
again. This
system.
time theoretically it should come up
Please visit us again.
without any issues. Again, we could have avoided all this just by waiting until we got to the hangar to call it. Assuming that you have the hangar already. And it looks like it's coming up correctly this time. Alright, so the neat thing about the Hall series is that it actually transports cargo on the outside of the ship on spindles, grids. So in order to do that, we'll have to get in or on the ship and then lift off a little bit and open it. So actually pretty loud. Well, how's that? How's that for sound? Yeah, a little bit. Alright, let's see. Take the sound down on the background a little bit. See what happens. Alright. Looking around to see everything. Alright, let's see. Ship on. Lift up a little bit. Alright, and that's what I was talking about as far as it coming out. So, now that we've actually got this fixed. Alright, there we go. I got my sound issues fixed too. Alright, so now that we've got the ship done, we've got it back on the ground. Go ahead and head back out. And then we'll get... Now we'll have to pull our cargo up. Alright, go into contracts. Obviously, we'll have to get a contract first. So what we're looking for is from Port Tressler, which is where we're at. We want to go to either Mike L1 or Mike L2. And then we want to do return trips from there back to here. So there's a Mike L1 there, but that's 86 SCU. I was hoping for something a little bit smaller, but we'll see what we can find. We can do the missions that are bigger than the ship. We just have to make 2 trips. And your mileage may vary on that. So what we want to do is we want to find something that we can reasonably accomplish in the amount of time we have. You'll see the timer on these. That's typically how quick you have to get the mission done, I believe. We want to avoid anything going to the spaceport, anything going to the planet. I mean, you could do those if you really want to, but they're time killers because you're going to have to go to the planet, land on the planet, unload, take off, so forth. Whereas with the stations, you can pretty much jump straight out of the coming straight out of the hangar. You can switch into nav mode and go full speed. So those are going to be the quickest. All right. All right. So nope, we don't want to do that one either. So it looks like our best bet is the Mike L1 with like 80 something SCU. I believe it was somewhere in here. Let's see. All right. There it is right there. So we'll go ahead and do that one there. All right. That's better. Now it's picking up the way it's supposed to. All right. So now that we've taken our mission, we'll go ahead and get it loaded up. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to take the whole thing. So we'll go ahead and take the... Got to set it down. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take these right here, which are 8 SCU containers. Go ahead and move them all over there. We'll actually put on the... You could have actually split it off and just brought up what you needed to. We're going to take probably the bigger containers first, which is why we wanted this. As you can see with the All A, this works out really nicely. You basically just drag it across, get it up close to it, and it'll snap into place. Grab another one, do the same thing. Want to do this till either there's no more cargo left or we have no more room on the grid. Fit 4 SCU containers on each side, or 8 SCU. Bring this across, then put it right here. All right, now for the other side, we could do one of two things. We could move the ship, or we can actually go... We're going to drag the first one over there. Once we're on this side, what we can do is we can actually just grab the containers and bring them to us. This is why we got the max lift tractor beam. That'll let us go 80 meters instead of the 20 of the multi-tool. And then basically you just do the same thing you did on the other side. Now, like I said, obviously we're going to have some left over. But what we'll do is we'll send it back down. And then as we're on the way back, we'll grab another load from Mike L1 to bring back. And then we'll take a second load back to Mike L1. And then theoretically, we'll grab another load from Mike L1 and bring it back. You want to try to make this as roundabout as you can. So that way you're hardly ever traveling with an empty grid. You don't necessarily have to build a grid, but you definitely don't want it empty. as you could see earlier, these missions range anywhere from like 30 grand up to 50, 60 grand. So we always want to be carrying something. All right, so that car goes back in there. Really is a nice little ship. 64 SCU, so when you're starting out, that's quite a bit. Rocking the Grey Cat Errol Hazard armor. Now, obviously, while we're doing this, we're flying a longer ship. Keep that in mind when you're making turns and doing other stuff. It's like somebody lost their Intrepid out here. All right, and then once we've actually out of the hangar, then we want to jump back to where we're going. Well, jump where we're going. All right, looks like it's going to make me map it. So in this case, we're going to Mike L1. Should be a straight shot. Now what we'll do is we'll go to Mike L1. We'll actually unload this into the elevator, send it down, get credit for it, and then we'll see if we can pull a mission from Mike L1 to go back. There are, I know there's people who have been stacking missions, like taking multiple missions and so forth to fill a grid, so forth. And you can do that, but you should always bring one load up at a time. So it's whatever load is for that mission, bring that up. Once you get that loaded, then do the next one. And try to be putting them on separate sides of the ship or separate grids. So that way you're not confusing what goes with what. All right. And obviously, Hall A acceleration is not going to be great, but I mean, it's a dedicated cargo ship. It really has no other use. I mean, I guess you could use it as a daily driver if that's what you have, but realistically, that's not what it's meant for. And we'll wait till we're within about 5 to 10K of the station. We'll drop into SEM. That'll slow us down enough. And then when we get close enough, within like say 2K, then we'll actually call for a hangar. That's typically how I do it. Once you get used to doing it, you can do it however you want. Sorry about that. A little cough yet. All right, same thing we were doing with every other ship coming into a hangar, trying to line it up, shoot for the center of the hangar, or in this case, the center of the doorway, and then try to land on the center of the hangar. Um, how you land in here isn't as vital for unloading because, as you've seen with the max lift, you can pretty much reach across. So we'll try to get the ship on the pad a little bit, decent centered, and then bring it down. All right. Go ahead and, as usual, we'll repair and refuel if we can. When you hit landing, if that happens, just go ahead and keep moving it until you can actually going back and forth until you can get refueled. It's a glitch. SIG is actually out for the holidays, so probably not going to get fixed until they get back. So, unfortunately. All right. So now that we're refueled, we've turned our engines off. Now we'll go out here and start unloading. Pretty much have to get through the doorway a little bit. Otherwise, if you try to hit F to open the outer door to get out, it'll just end up. I don't know why I went this way. Obviously the wrong direction. All right. So here's the freight elevator. Go ahead and pull off from here first. Nice thing about the hallway, since it's not inside the ship, you can literally just go right over top and then put it on the freight elevator. All right. And then we'll just rinse and repeat this until we get it all done. And then we'll send it down. And then I'll show you there's a key thing you need to look for when you're doing hauling missions to make sure you get credit for them. Cover that here in a minute. All right. Depth perception is not what it used to be. And let's face it, with video games, it's kind of hard to do depth perception anyway. And you could actually speed this up by pulling over a little farther to the side, but I'm not that worried about it. I like to do this kind of a relaxed. So that's part of the enjoyment of this game loop, is you can basically just travel back and forth delivering boxes. Well, it's not quite the same industrial gameplay as like mining or salvage. I believe I consider it a form of industrial gameplay. Whether you do or not, that's up to you. But I do consider it that, just because once crafting and so forth comes out, this will all be part of it. You'll have to move stuff between bases or sell stuff to other people, so forth. All right. Let's get this one up on top. Got one more to go. All right. Now we'll go over here to the freight elevator control. All right. This window right here, this is what you're looking for. Don't get that when you're sending your hauling mission cargo down, then it's not registering from that contract. In which case, you'll likely have to bring it back up and try to do something else. Now, with that being said, there's a couple of workarounds. Sometimes you can leave the hangar, come back, and it'll recognize it. Sometimes you'll literally have to completely load it back onto the ship and go out and come back in. All right, so now we're looking for something to go from Mike L1 back to Port Tressler. So that one's going to be a little bit too much. We want a small load. I mean, theoretically, you could do that, but we're looking for, and if we don't find anything else, we'll do that. But I'd rather do a smaller load, like this. 13 boxes from Mike L1 to Port Tressler. That's perfect. These are the kind of missions you should be looking for normally, because you can do them in one run. You don't have to worry. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and get it loaded. Got us in the elevator breakdown. Probably should have left it down there. And I forgot to bring it up. Whoops. And so now we got to load it again. All right. Get this all on here. Bring it up. I usually wait for the flashing light. I know it's coming up. Then we'll go ahead and start with our max lift again. Hit 5 until you get to it. Just keep tapping 5 till it comes through. Every time you tap 5, it should change one of your utility items. Scroll wheel to go in and out. Pull it, push it away from you and pull it back. Leave it's up to go away towards you, or back to go. Pull it in. I don't know whether it matters, but I'm going to try to balance the load a little more. I don't think they've actually put those mechanics in yet, but it doesn't hurt. And with the hull lay, it's easy to do. All right. So we got this box and one more, and we should be good. All right, last box. All right, that's all of it. So now we'll go ahead and get back in the ship and head back to Port Tressler. And this works regardless of what planet you start on. You can do this at Hurston. You can do it at RE-18. You can do it at Orison. Obviously, the station near the planet will change. The range point names will change. But, I mean, it's really easy. So you can do this regardless of your starting location. Now, this does not work the same in Pyro. The hauling contracts there work differently. And once or twice that I've done them so far, they're not really working properly to me. So keep that in mind. If you're going to do hauling right now, I would stick with Stanton. Make sure that door is open before you go through. All right, and then we're just going to do the reverse. So last time we came from Port Tressler to here, now we're going to go from here to Port Tressler. And it's obstructed. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Worst comes to worst, you might have to actually jump to Microtech first. Or you could even have the station is in the way. Here we go. Now we can see it. All right. So, and as you can see here, we're going to have to jump to Microtech first. Regardless, of course, we have to be in nav mode. Again, switching between modes. If you haven't changed it, it's going to be B. Go between nav and SEM, and then left click on the mouse in order to engage your quantum. If you've changed it, then you'll have to adjust that for whatever you've got it set up to be. Sometimes lately it's been dropping us out as soon as we go in. Not a big deal. Just go ahead and start back into quantum again. Shouldn't have to remap or anything. Another caveat I should throw out there: if you encounter a server error while you're doing these missions, you may or may not be able to complete them. Sometimes it drops them, sometimes it just screws them up. Keep that in mind. Don't be surprised if you get to a station, you send the cargo down, and for whatever reason it doesn't complete properly. You just have to kind of, I guess, suck it up and keep going, or choose not to do it. However you want to look at it, depending on if that kind of thing bothers you. I fully expect issues with an alpha game, so I'm not too worried about it. This is a good way to make money. You figure you're making anywhere from typically 30 something to 50 something thousand per run. All right, we'll just wait for our quantum to cool down here. If it jumps up like that automatically, sometimes it's going to let you go, sometimes it won't. Just move away from the point and come back to it, let it calibrate again, and then it should jump. All right, and then just wait a second for it to pop in. Start moving. All right, so we've got load on here from Mike L1. We've still got a few pieces to go back to Mike L1 from Port Tressler to finish that other mission. And then theoretically, if you find a small one going to Mike L1 from Port Tressler, you could go ahead and add that in with what you've already got. Just remember, you want to send one mission down at a time. All right. So, need to go back up here. All right, same as usual. Line up on the opening, kind of center it, and then head it on in. Drop your landing gear to slow down, and then ease on into your in position. Set it down. All right. Yep. Now we just got to get it unloaded. Go ahead and get that repair and refuel done. Again, it's a bug. Just keep trying till you get it. Get out of the ship, get our max lift out, and start unloading. Obviously, since I get out on this side of the ship, it just makes sense to unload this side first. Really bothers you hitting 5 all the time to switch, you could literally just put your med gun and your multi-tool in your backpack and just have your max lift, and then that way you wouldn't have to worry about it. Switching through them doesn't bother me, so I just keep doing it that way. Again, up and over the Hall A. If you're interested in the hauling loop, you can actually pick up a Hall A for about 1.7K at Lorville. So, something to work towards if that's your preferred game loop. For those that are more experienced in Star Citizen, I'll probably have some mining videos here from Pyro as well soon. Trying to make sure I hit all the major planets there. I'm not going to do every single moon, but I might hit one or two here and there. But definitely want to hit all the main planets. All right, same thing. Make sure that window comes up and transfer. And we'll go ahead and get our. That one's getting blocked, so that's because we already got 11. Looks like we've got a lot of extra here. Yeah, it looks like it duplicated. So what happens is when it duplicates like that, it just means you've got extra stuff. Once you complete the mission, the contract designator should go away on it. And then you can actually just keep that. Let's see. We need, I think, 80 something. These are 2 apiece. We needed roughly about 20 or so. Something like that. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, we needed 22, so 2 of these 8s is 16. 3 of the 2s is another 6. So that should give us our 22. And you thought you'd never need math when you got older. Again, not sure if the balancing thing is necessary, but we're going to do it for now. We'll put at least 1 or 2 of these over here, and then 1 on the other side at least. At least balance it out a little bit. I don't really think they've got the physics set up right now to matter here. All right, we'll go ahead and put the other 2 on this side. A little closer so we don't have to scroll as much. All right, last box for this run. Now keep in mind the load we did from Mike L1 here, that's already paid for our rental for the hallway. If you factor in the 19 grand for the max lift, you need to make roughly about, I don't know, call it 55,000 to even out. Of course, you only have to buy that once, hopefully. Whereas the hallway, you need to rent each day. But as you saw, you could make that up in one trip. And then anything after that is profit. And again, theoretically, we could have picked up another mission here to go there and just keep doing that back and forth. You can do it this way. You can actually go, if you actually pick up the right orders, you can literally pick up here, drop off somewhere else, pick up there, go to somewhere else, and make a big loop. So you'll just have to look and see what's available when you go. And again, if you don't have an issue with the going planet side as well, even though it's going to take longer, then you can do that as well. All right. Back to Mike L1, see what we got. And again, just little quick jumps, like 4K or 4 gigameters. This thing actually has, I believe, like 100 and something gigameters capacity for fuel, quantum fuel. So you could do this quite a bit all day long without having to refuel too often. Obviously, assuming depending on where you're jumping. For some reason, it lost the. All right, so that's not working either. Let's see. And it's not coming up in the list even. Let's try again here. If that doesn't work, you might have to get out of the nav mode or get out of the screen and then maybe go back into it. You can even take and switch from nav to SCM and back. Or you could line up like that. Came back out and it was already lined up and calibrated, so we'll just go ahead and jump. You do not actually have to go into the map and set a jump. If you have line of sight to it and it's calibrating for you, then you can go ahead and do that. A lot of times it just depends. Assuming that you have line of sight and there's not a bunch of other stuff like this in your way. All right. We are back at Mike L1. Let's go ahead and get landed, get unloaded. Then we'll see what else we can pick up. All right. We'll go ahead and get slowed down here. Preferably without hitting the station. Go up around to our hangar that we spawned. Max speed in SCM for the Hull A is about 140. So you can actually boost higher than that to get where you need to go. Or for that matter, you could stay in nav mode if it works for you. Once you get used to flying around. All right, same as before. Set her up in the hangar and land. Put your landing gear down first, obviously. Refuel and repair. Actually worked the way it's supposed to that time. Go ahead and get this unloaded, and we'll see if there's anything we can grab from here to go back. Get our trusty max lift out. We got 2 boxes on this side, so this will be fairly quick. Obviously, if you can actually do this mission or this run back and forth with less than the 64 SCU, then by all means, that's perfect. Because that means you don't have to make multiple trips. All right. As we're pulling this one, if we want to, we can start walking that way. Get there a little quicker. And then we'll unload the other side. How you put it on the elevator really doesn't matter. I usually try to do the back of the elevator most of the time when I'm doing hauling missions, just to make sure it registers. And that way I don't have to rearrange anything if I have a bigger order. All right, and that'll be that order. Now we'll put our tractor beam away. You need to put your tractor beam away before you try to go in here and use the freight manager. For some reason, it just doesn't work. Again, make sure we get this screen. And now that mission is complete. So, contract mission, however you want to look at it. So now we'll look and see if we can find another one. You can see we've actually made the 349 now. So we're actually back up above where we were. I think we're closer to 300,000. So we've already made profit. And let's see if we can find something going back. Yeah, it's a little bigger than I want to do. That'll work. Nope, that's the wrong place. That's the other way around. That's what we're looking for. So that's a good return trip there. 13 SCU going back. Go ahead and pull it up in the elevator. Apparently only got 1 box. So when this happens, you can go ahead and pull that box out. Or you can try again. Yeah, we'll go ahead and pull it out. Just to make sure it doesn't get lost or anything. So we'll pull it out here. Set it off to the side. Then we'll go back to the freight elevator. And see if the cargo's in there now. It's still showing that one. We're not going to worry about it. All right. So just close it, open it back up again. There we go. Now we're good. Took a second for it to register. All right, now let's get the rest of it. And I forgot to bring it up again. Dang it. One more time. Hit the button. Bring it up. Then hit the X after the lights flash. All right. Now we'll just do the same thing. We'll load it up and go. Alright. Let's get this one on there. We'll probably put the other ones on the other side, maybe. Around the other side of the ship here and put this on, and we'll pull the other boxes over here. So basically, we've got scrap and waste here. So I'm putting the waste on one side, the scrap on the other. Don't know whether you have to. Don't know whether it'll matter, but I do it just because, well, OCDs. I can't see that, so I don't know whether that's actually even with the other one or not. So since I can't see it, I don't care. And plus, we need a room for that. All right. Now that we're all loaded up, let's go ahead and load back into the ship. If you have buddies, you can actually run these together. Just be aware that you will split the money and the rep. So it will take you a lot more missions to level up to the next level. Alright, time to take off. Lift off, put your landing gear up, or wait till you're out of the hangar and do it, whichever works for you. Other way. Alright. So, same thing, rinse and repeat. Head back now to Port Tressler. If you get this where there's like one overlaying it, and you can try to map it. Sometimes that's not going to work. Sometimes it will. Sometimes it'll tell you it's obstructed, or it'll do this. So, best thing you can do at this point is one, either jump someplace else first, or move around a little bit. You can try redoing this again. You can try jumping to Microtech. Again, same issue, because the Mic L2 is interfering with it. So what you do is you can either move and come back to it, try to adjust your angle a little bit. You're gonna have to go a little ways, but the other thing you can do is just try to move the area around a little bit until you're fixated on the one position for the one place. There we go. And then jump there. So since we know Microtech is the planet, we're going to jump there first. And then once we get there, then we can actually see about jumping to Port Tressler. Once we actually get to Microtech, then we can map to Port Tressler, and it shouldn't be an issue. All right. And a lot of these beginner videos, I'm probably not going to cut out a lot of the jumping and stuff, especially if we're just jumping short distances. If we are jumping like across the system, then I will. But otherwise, I'm not going to worry about it. All right. So now that we're at Microtech, we can go ahead and bring up the map. I mean, you can look around if you want. Sometimes you can find it, but I'm just going to go ahead and type it in and see if I can set the route. And as long as you're close like this, it will usually map the OMs for you as well in order to get there. So, all right, so we got to go left. We'll go ahead and jump to OM5. And from there, we'll go to Port Tressler. And don't worry about if that happens too. Just move away and come back. Let it charge up again. Again, little bugs. SIG is on holiday, so probably not getting fixed until after the first of the year. As much as a pain as that is. So I see another OM, so we'll jump there first. And now we should be able to jump to the station. Alright. Sometimes it takes a second to pop in. Alright. And then we'll jump down there as well. Here, we'll switch over to SCM shortly. Really does slow you down pretty quick. Then we'll go ahead and hit our button or call for a hangar. Again, if you don't have that mapped to something else by now, you can still go into hit F1, go to the comm tab, go to friends, and it's usually like the first entry. It'll be whatever the name of that station is. All right, in this particular case, we got to go on the other side. So we're under this bar. Around here, a little bit too much. And again, just like usual, try to center up a little bit. As you get used to flying, you'll be able to just kind of whip right in. You won't have to worry about centering up as much. It'll just become like second nature. All right. Down here, go ahead, refuel and repair. Just get in the habit of doing that. Hopefully that's one of the first things that SIG fixes, so it's not as annoying. Although, in some past batches, they never did get it fixed right away, so some places you just couldn't refuel and repair. So the fact that you can do this one with a workaround is up there as a positive. For those that aren't familiar with it, this is the hab part. Hall A. Bathroom. Guess we forgot to do that before, so we'll go and do it now. Alright. Same as before. Pull out your max lift. Let's get stuff unloaded. Time is money. While we're unloading this, trying to do a comprehensive series for industrial gameplay. So we've already done rock mining, we've already done hauling now. So next one up will probably be the prospector. Salvage will actually have to wait until we can get a salvage ship, but we may end up working on that. All right, we'll go ahead and get this loaded in there. Hold R and move your mouse to turn stuff. That's on the tractor beam. All right, last box. If you pull too fast like that, you can actually break the connection and drop the box. So, all right, hit the button, get the menu, hit confirm. All right, wait for it to pop up and say we're done. And sometimes it glitches. Now you can actually go into the contract and hit complete, return in, submit, whatever you want to call it. And that will call it a day too. You can actually wait a little while and see if it completes. But I'm gonna go ahead and wait a few and see if it completes, and then if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna go in and submit. So, all right, you can see we're up to 348. Once this mission completes, we'll actually get another 30 or 40,000. So we'll be up closer to 400. You can actually go in. Up there's the problem. Server error. All right, so while we're waiting on that, I'm going to go ahead and call it there. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Obviously, I'd love to hear feedback. If there's something you're interested in that I haven't touched on, maybe let me know as well. I'm not into combat, so that's probably not going to happen much. Or I might try it. You never know. Um, and, I mean, other than that, really, have a good day. We will see you on the next one.